Notifications. Hi, everybody. In case you couldn't tell from the sounds outside, I am still in New York City. I have no voice left after yelling so much today. And I don't think those sirens are going to be going away anytime soon. They're tearing down. They've opened up Central Park South again. They've taken down all the barristers, and 2018 New York City Marathon is over. Boo-hoo. I'm really sad. This is my Super Bowl. This is my favorite time of the year. It's a really big weekend. And today was a really cool day to be here. A lot of history was made. We're going to be talking about this race for a really long time. Shalane Flanagan winning in 2017 was a big deal, huge deal actually. And what happened today is still a little bit mind blowing. So Mary Keitany, who came in second place last year, and even Shalane was surprised that she was faster than Mary that day, because Mary is generally known as a titan of the sport. She's one of the fastest women, not just alive now, but that has ever lived. And whenever she shows up to a race, you kind of go, okay. Even if it's my day, my best might not be good enough. So before I go into talking about all the exciting things that happened, here's the perspective I want you to have in the back of your heads when you think about today, especially if you just got back to your hotel and you were running New York City as well, and all you've heard all day long is the same thing that I heard from the moment I got out of bed this morning and started walking towards the Blue Line Lounge. What a perfect day it is. Perfect day. Perfect day. That song from Legally Blonde started playing in my head and has been blaring in the back of it all day long, because you couldn't go 10 feet without somebody saying, it's just a perfect day, right? Oh my God, it's a perfect day, perfect day, perfect day, perfect day, perfect day. I mean, perfect, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure as soon as you get started. And it's a lot of misunderstanding for someone that's never been to New York City, who has never run a marathon, who has never run the marathon in New York City. And yeah, I know there's more than one, but this is the only one I really care about, and that's really the only one we need to talk about if we're going to talk about a perfect day. Here's the perspective. When you're a professional and running is your job, and not just running is your job, training is your job, performing is your job. Sponsors don't really care if you had a perfect day. They don't care if you didn't sleep well the night before. They don't care if your child was teething. They don't care if you were sick. What they care about is a podium finish, and that's what you're paid to get. There's a purse attached to a lot of these races. So here's how an athlete makes money. Number one, they're invited to show up. That means they get an appearance fee. That was a really cute note. If you get my Nuzzle newsletter, Allie Sellers, the girl that I came in second at the Boston Marathon, had no idea that even existed, and she was so excited when she found out, not only do I get to run New York City for free, they're going to pay for me to show up, and my husband, they're going to pay for us to stay, and I get an appearance fee? Whoa, that's nuts. Most of the bigger races do that, so they make money from being elite and showing up, for one. Number two, there's a purse for the top 5 American male and female. Number 3, there's a purse for the top 10 positions, male and female. And there are bonuses usually attached to each athlete's contract on top of that. So if there's a podium finish, that number is way bigger. If you are not in the top 10, if you're just outside the top 10, if you're just outside the podium, you might as well have not been there. As far as payment goes, it's really disappointing and it's really frustrating. And if you follow Steph Bruce Rothstein, if you follow her Instagram, she's one of the few that's really, really honest about the payday and the heartbreak of being a professional runner. So that's the first thing to remember. No one, even though there's all this money attached to it, all the best in the world show up. So when the elites come here, this is also a notoriously difficult course. The fastest times women and men have ever raced, none of those records have been set on this course. Okay? So when we talk about a slower course, yeah, this isn't the fastest course in the world for the fittest marathoners and distance runners who've ever lived. Right? A sponsor's not going to send a perfectly trained marathon here and necessarily demand that they PR. It's one of the reasons why elites care about PRs, but they would rather have a good day at a big race like this, because it's better money, than getting a PR at a little race like Pittsburgh. No disrespect to Pittsburgh, it's a terrific race, but you probably can't name the girl who won it. She was here today too, and she didn't finish in the top 10. So, but you might know who she is if you read my Nuzzle newsletter. There's a whole feature on her. I think she's great. Her name is Sydney DeVore. She's fantastic, and she only recently joined Brooks Hansen on a whim because she met a couple of them in Florida, and that's just crazy. So there's that. So when we talk about a perfect day, what we coaches and commentators are counting on is something could happen today that has never happened before, but we're expecting that from the elite field, from the professional field. We're really not expecting it from everybody else. So when it's 53 degrees and it's cool and there's a little bit of wind and it's perfectly sunny, all of that's amazing for people in the front. And that's exactly what happened. When you look at these numbers, they're absolutely incredible, right? You had the two fastest women who've ever lived were both running in the marathon, Mary and Vivian, right? What's so mind-blowing about this is Molly Huddle is the fastest American half marathoner. She set that half marathon record in Houston Aramco back in January 17th of this year, right? And the time that she ran that half marathon, that American record-breaking time, beating Paula Radcliffe, beating her half marathon time, that was a 1:07 and change, right? In the second half of the New York City Marathon, a much tougher course, Houston's known for being easier, right? A tougher course, Mary Keitany ran a 66-minute half in the back half of this marathon. That's insane, right? When you take a look at the 5K splits, she was running faster than some of the 5 and 10K PR times set on a track by Des Linden and Shalane. I mean, it's crazy how fast she was. Almost fast enough that there may be some questions asked, and rightfully so, but she's not one I worry about when it comes to that. I think she'll be okay. I just think she really is that good. Another thing that's important to know, she's 36 years old. She's 36 years old. She's a mother of 2, and she's just starting to show us how good she can actually be. That she's coming into her prime now is kind of an amazing thing. So all of that, I could go through all these numbers. Allie Kiefer, she beat her time last year by over a minute and a half, which is a big deal. Shalane beat her time by 20 seconds, and Shalane's so fit you almost wouldn't expect that to happen. Steph Bruce Rothstein, she beat her time by a full minute. That is huge. Again, for these perfectly trained women, that professional runners, they came here and they did better than they did last year. Unfortunately, the field was a little bit faster, so they didn't place as well because you had the addition of Mary and Vivian. So it was a lot of heartbreak. The number one goal for a professional female marathoner is to break 2:20 because that puts you in super elite category. But that's not likely to happen here. The course record for a female is only 2:21 and change, I think. And so the second fastest course record was set today with Mary Keitany's win. So just, again, to give you perspective on this course in the grand scheme of things. She's run way faster than that. It's just no one's run much faster than that here. So we had no one broke 2:20. The next thing people want is to break the 2:30 barrier, and that is what Steph Rothstein came to do, and she didn't. She was off by 59 seconds, and she came in 11th place. Last year she was 10th. And if you look at her Instagram, she's pretty heartbroken about that. I was heartbroken for her because I had heard that she had moved into 10th place before I started my live stream of the finish line. The next goal that people want to break is 2:37. That's the Olympic A standard, which, if you watched my Twitch earlier, sorry to repeat myself, but that means she gets funding, that her training is funded by the Olympic Committee. She gets assistance. That's, a big deal because it's a lot of money. And so Allie Sellers did that. So Sarah Sellers did that, the nurse that came in second place at Boston, who came out of nowhere, so shocked that she gets an appearance fee for being here today. She now gets her training paid for by the Olympic Committee, and that is just phenomenal. And then beyond that, the next one is the Olympic A standard, which doesn't get you money, it just gets you the permit, it gets you the invitation to the Olympic trials. Right. So and then it's nothing but heartbreak until the people start trying to cross the 3-hour barrier, which again takes another 15 to 20 minutes. Bottom line, it was a great day for a lot of people. It was the weather brought perfect conditions for record-breaking speeds on this course. So it was a great day to be in the top 3. It was a great day to be the women in the top 10, to be the women on the podium, because you're going to get paid out that much more by your sponsor. No one came here for a PR in general. They come here for a PR on this course. They want to do a little better than they did last time. Mission accomplished for just about every American runner. But that's kind of where it stops. Okay? Just because it's a perfect day for the pros who have perfect training, perfect sleep, all the assistance in the world, you got to remember, and this is the perspective, if you were running today, if you were at New York, if you're here, and you feel really disappointed because it was a perfect day, but you didn't have a perfect race, again, they're not talking about you. I'm not talking about you. I'm going to talk to you right now. But when we say it's a perfect day and the song from Legally Blonde starts like playing in the back of your head, that's more a command for these people because they've got to explain to everyone, like, it was a perfect day, what went wrong? And all they can say to themselves is, it just wasn't my day. Because they have nothing to do but run. Nothing to do but run. And again, it's their full-time job, right? We are older. Well, I mean, I'm older than most of these people. I have more going on, and so do you, than a lot of these people. We have jobs. We have families. Most of us don't have that much assistance. We have to meal plan and meal prep, and we don't have nutritionists, and we don't have meal delivery services, and you got to call your coach to get her attention because she's not always on Facebook, and sometimes she uses this thing called Twitch. What? OMG. And we've got a lot going on. Our life does not revolve around a training plan. We expect a training plan to fit into the crevices of our lives as much as possible, and we hope for the best every time we show up to a race. That is not the case for these people. So when we talk about the perfect day, it's a perfect day for elites to do really incredible things and get extra money for being professional runners. It's an opportunity to see people like Allie Kiefer shine, to see people like Des go out in a blaze of glory. Shalane, who allegedly this is her last marathon. After the weather in Boston, she said this just couldn't be my last one. She was saying this morning, it was overheard, and this was the rumor all through the Blue Line Lounge, that she was overheard saying, "I think it's time to pass the baton. Pretty sure I'm done, but I'm gonna go out in a blaze of glory." And I just thought that was fantastic. So we'll see what she actually decides to do. No pressure and no shade either way. But it's a long time to live like this and wait for a perfect day. And if you've ever heard me say, like, don't quit on a bad day, quit on a good day. Go for it, Shalane. Quit on this good day. It was a perfect day. Best day ever. Best time. Like, if there was ever a time to say, this is all I got, I'm proud of it, and it's wonderful, that was today. If your name is not Shalane Flanagan, if you're training with another mother runner, if you don't have Olympic A standard money, and you're sitting in your hotel room thinking like somehow that you blew it or that you wasted this perfect day because that time isn't exactly what you thought it was going to be, or it was harder than you thought it was going to be, or you had to walk for a little while, you got to remember that whole perfect day had nothing to do with you, because you know what? You started way later than everybody else. You probably started a whole hour later than the people in Wave 1. People in Wave 3, again, I was saying it earlier this morning, I am not worried everybody in the first wave is going to have a great day. I was worried about the runners that I had in Corral 2 and in Corral 3, because it was already warm when I was sitting at the finish line. I had my jacket off within a few minutes, and I didn't grab it until we left late this evening. So I was like, if I am warm just sitting here in the sunshine, imagine what the runners are feeling like over in Staten Island that are standing in the sunshine waiting for their turn to start. Imagine what those people are feeling like 1 hour in, 2 hours in. It's a perfect day if you're elite. It is not a perfect day for everybody else in a race with such a late start, with such a staggered start, because of the televised aspect of it, the night after daylight savings time, ... It was never going to be a perfect day for you. And that was, when we say it's a perfect day, that's a challenge and that's pressure to people that are not you. And if you're putting that on yourself, that's bullshit. And you need to stop that. It was a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I hope you got all kinds of selfies. I hope at some point, if you realize this day is not going my way, you then decided to make some fun of it instead of going for some arbitrary B goal that I never told you to set. That's not how I think at all. And never at a race like this. I certainly hope you said, you know what? This isn't going to be what I wanted, so I'm going to make it something fantastic. And I hope you high-fived every kid in Brooklyn. I hope you said, hey, now I know where Park Slope is, and took like a couple of pictures of the signs. I hope you crossed the corner where Sesame Street allegedly came from and realized not only that you were passing it, but got a photo of it. I hope you got some selfies off that bridge, because why wouldn't you? Everybody else is walking as you cross the 63rd Street Bridge to come back into Manhattan. I hope you looked down and said, hey, I wonder what Roosevelt Island is. MK told me about that. Looked down and got a selfie of that too. I hope you walked through Thunder Alley and just felt the vibrations of all that screaming against your skin, pretending that they were cheering for you. It gives me chills every time. As you entered Manhattan, I hope you took time to look at your feet and say, what is that, when you went through the massive goo puddle at mile 19. I hope you savored every minute on this perfect, beautiful day with incredible weather that made for great photos and viewing and a tour of this city that most people will never get. I hope that's what you got out of it, rather than sitting here saying, well, it wasn't a PR, but wasn't what I wanted, but I don't know why she makes us do that EAT. I didn't run any of those numbers she said to run, which was never the purpose of the EAT, and I'm running out of ways to say it. I really, really hope if you're here right now and you're hearing everyone talking, you're hearing the coverage talk about the perfect day, and that makes you feel bad, I want you to hear my voice in the back of your head saying, not for you. Perfect day is pressure for them. It's a gift for you. Don't pee in your own Cheerios. There is no reason for that. Okay? No one expected you to have a perfect day. We hoped you would have a perfect day, but a perfect day, again, is visibility. It's weather that isn't a disaster. It's celebrating your training. It's an opportunity to look back and say, hi, I'm in New York City, and I ran a marathon when I went to New York. What did you do? Oh, you saw Hamilton? That's great. I ran a marathon. Okay, on the same day that course records were broken and set. I was there. It was cool. There are no wounds to lick right now. If your ankles are sore, that's great. Get on your foam roller. If your feelings are hurt, check yourself. Get some perspective. What you did was amazing. You were in New York on a perfect day. Whether or not you had a perfect race is beside the point, and it always was. You got to have the New York City Marathon experience, and hopefully you still have a voice, because I really, really don't, and I'm definitely not going to tomorrow. So that's the perspective I want you to have before you go to sleep tonight. This is what I want you to remember when you wake up tomorrow. There's nothing to be sad about, and there's nothing to be dejected. And no, you didn't fail, and no, you didn't let anyone down. You are coached. You are loved. I am proud of you. Proud of you. I could not be prouder. You're only losing at life if you want to, or you refuse to see it. If you are here, you're winning. That is the end of my soliloquy. I hope you had a great trip. I hope you're eating all the nachos and drinking all the Amaretto Sours, because, yum, those are delicious. I'm going to look through the chat, and then I'm going to go film my mantra and take a shower, because I stink. Yay! Oh, Susie, if you missed watching the marathon, go back and see my Twitch. I gave a lot of commentary. Yeah, the finish was really exciting. It was so good to watch. Pancakes, that's amazing. Do not elite runners manage to get to New York City by lottery? Yes, there are different ways to get into the New York City Marathon. You can either know somebody that works at New York Roadrunners and make sure that they like you better than anyone else they know, because each gets friends and family entry. That's how I got here. You can do 9+V, which means you if you're local, you can run 9 local New York City races in a calendar year and volunteer at one, and then you're given a guaranteed entry to the following year's marathon. You can qualify, and the qualifying standard for New York is considerably higher than that of Boston in all age divisions. It's so high, it's almost like that's the next thing. I qualify for Boston. What next? Qualify for New York, if you really want to. I'd rather run a marathon in every state personally. That's a big bar. But people do it. No shade to anybody who wants to. And then everybody else either raises money for charity or gets in through the lottery. So those are the ways to get to New York City. Yay. Yes, it was. It was a great day. So that's all I have to say about that. I'm about to go shower again because I stink and record the morning mantra for tomorrow. But there you go. It was a perfect day for the race. It was a perfect day, bringing perfect opportunity for more money for the professionals. For the rest of us, all we needed to have was not a disaster, and I sincerely hope you had that. And I also hope that you go to bed knowing that you're coached and loved and winning at life, and still feel that when you wake up in the morning too. Yay, 3 days at the fair. 3 days at the fair. Here's the thing to remember. with 3 days at the fair, I've not forgotten about you guys. I'm going to be reaching out tomorrow morning. I just had to, it's been a sprint to the finish for me. Yay. So if I'm not totally dead on the flight tomorrow, and totally don't lose my mind in the morning, I'm going to try to get in touch with you. Worst case scenario, hear from me on Tuesday. Enjoy those last few days of freedom though, because it's going to get ugly.